What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to talk about the difference between top laners and mid laners, specifically the champions that go top lane and mid lane. You might have never thought about this, or you might be wondering, why is it that top lane champions go top lane and mid lane champions go mid lane? For example, mages always go mid lane, but why don't they ever send mages top lane? Or if bruisers are OP, why don't they just send bruisers mid lane? Anything like that. So I'll just look through some parts of this game to show you. But you guys can see on the right here the champions in this game. So it's Zoe mid versus Akshan mid, and Mundo top versus Gwen top. I just took this game as an example. It could be any game. I just wanted a game with like normal champions and their roles. So first of all, top laners go top lane because top laners are very hard at they're very hard to kill, in other words. So if the enemy team really wanted to kill the enemy top laner, for example, if blue team here really wanted to kill Gwen, or if red team here really wanted to kill Mundo, they would have a difficult time doing it. And right here already, you see a perfect example. I didn't even like go to this spot on purpose. You can see on the map that Sona is roaming top lane to the Gwen because they kind of FF'd bot lane. Sona's just roaming top. If instead of Gwen top, this was me top, I would have a much harder time dealing with the Sona being in my lane, right? And you might be thinking, oh, well, couldn't Sona just roam mid then and just 2v1? What the heck is this? Couldn't Sona just roam mid then, and, gank you instead of Gwen if Gwen has an easier time being safe 1v2? Well, the thing about mid lane is that because it's a shorter lane, you can't really freeze the wave as effectively, which I'll explain in a second why. And basically, if Sona came mid, they would just push the wave and then I'd collect the wave under tower. Where if Sona goes top lane, it's very easy for them to freeze on Gwen or poke Gwen under tower. And the reason for this is because top lane is so isolated from the rest of the game. So an easy way to think about it is top lane champions are very good at being alone because they're like maybe they're good in the 1v1, maybe they're not, but for the most part, if they get ganked, they won't die as easily as mid laners. So the way you can implement this in your game is if the enemy has some weird top laner, like Ezreal top, then just go and kill him. Like, what's he gonna do? I mean, Ezreal's kind of safe to be fair, but like, imagine diving an Ezreal under tower. Like, that's way easier than diving a Dr. Mundo or a Gwen or a Set, right? So that's just something to think about. And then I'll quickly go over why you can't freeze mid lane, or it's not as good. You can sometimes, but the reason you can't freeze mid lane, and the reason it's also just difficult for Sona to gank mid lane as opposed to top lane, is Sona being top lane right now means that it's very hard for Gwen to get help from our team. Obviously Fiddlesticks is bot lane right now, so he couldn't help if he wanted to. But like top lane is so far away from the action. It's not worth for us to go help Gwen. So Gwen needs to be good at just chilling by herself. And if I was Akshan top lane and Sona's doing this, well, my game would be over. Same if it was Zoe top lane, right? Like I would really need help, and my team would just need to come help me. Like Milio should recall, come help me right now. But she doesn't have to because, it's not like that. Gwen can just chill and be safe because she's a safer champion. And if Sona was attacking mid lane instead of top lane, right, it would be much easier for my team to just walk over and help me mid lane. No matter where they are on the map, people can always just come mid and get mid out of tough situations if it's required, right? If you've ever played mid lane, you probably have been in this situation before where you solo kill the enemy and then the enemy jungler just comes and saves their wave or something dumb like that, and it's like, oh my gosh, because it's so easy to help mid lane. So mid lane isn't really a role that you can attack as easy as top lane or bot lane because they're more isolated. So when you attack bot lane or top lane, it's harder for the enemy to respond. Like maybe they can respond, but it's a lot less likely than mid lane where they can always respond. So I'll go to another point in this video. I'll just show like mid game. Here's another perfect example. Mid laners at like past mid game and beyond, mid laners tend to be grouped with the team. And mid lane champions are good at team fighting. They're mages. For example, Akshan is a reset champion. Katarina is a reset champion. Assassins, uh, I'll go over in a second. But as you can see from this game state, this is how almost all games go, where the mid laner is on the side of the map that their team is on, and the top laner is on the side of the map that their team isn't on. So that's why it's important for Gwen to be a top laner. You know, Gwen might die here if you see the map. There's like 3 people on her. She's kind of caught out. But if I were here, I would certainly die. But maybe Gwen won't die. But the point is, Gwen shouldn't be dying here. She should be under tower, right? Because we're not with her. And if Gwen is under tower, she can stay alive. Akshan or Zoe would not be able to stay alive here. Top laners are just much better at being in these 1v3 situations. So again, that's the point of this video is if their top laner isn't a champion like that, it's very easy to attack their top laner. So for example, if we had like Zoe top and Akshan mid, the enemy team could just camp Zoe, just keep killing her and pushing the side lane. And you know, this is probably, if you're a jungler or support, it's very easy for you to do this. Or if you're a mid laner or ADC or top laner, you can just tell your team to do this. Very useful strategy when people pick these unconventional solo laners, in other words. Because mid laners like being with their team and top laners don't like being with their team. And then lastly, I'm going to go over why mid laners go mid lane, because I feel like I've talked a bit more about top lane than mid lane here. Mid lane champions all have good wave clear. For example, Akshan and Zoe both have good wave clear, and some mid laners have even better wave clear, like most mages. And then mid laners also like roaming. So I'll just go to any random point. You'll see right here, I'm going to arrive at the wave. I'm going to push the wave. The wave is already kind of pushed. And I'm going to look somewhere, right? Like, there's nowhere to look right now, but my idea is always to look somewhere. The idea with mid lane is you can push the wave quickly and move somewhere. Top laners don't really like moving places. They like playing for themselves. So mid laners really like moving around the map, right? And that's why people go mages, because they're good at pushing the wave so then they can move. And people go assassins, like Akshan, so then they can, you know, roam, because assassins move around the map very fast. Also, if I go back here, once again, you'll see I'm on the side with my team, and Gwen isn't on the side with my team. If I was an assassin and the enemy had an unsafe top laner, I could very easily go and kill the guy with Gwen. So that's why assassins like team fighting in a way, in quotation marks. Even though assassins don't actually like team fighting, they like being with their team because then they can kind of juggle themselves between the team fight and the split push. They can kind of have more options on where they want to go. So yeah, basically some key takeaways from this video. If you're a mid lane champion, of course just think about what champion you're playing. But if you're a traditional mid lane champion, then you want to be with your team, and the traditional top laner champion doesn't want to be with your team. You can, you know, take each other's place as necessary, but when you have the choice and you know maybe you both recall at the same time, make sure that you're the one with your team and your top laner is the one by themselves, because it's just a lot safer that way. And you know, you can punish the enemy for not following these concepts, I guess. And yeah, I hope this video helped. And thanks for watching, and subscribe.